You would think I would have this down to a pattern. I've been doing it so long. But nope, totally on. Whoops, what just happened? There we go. Totally by the seat of my pants. I'm running a little bit late. Thank you for joining me. Welcome. This is Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And we are going to do our Monday mini medicine card readings. Welcome, everybody, and come on in. I'm just getting set up, got going a little bit late here. Let me do the. So I just don't want to look like my antlers are showing. Welcome in. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman, and we're going to use the medicine card deck to pull some cards. So if you are new here, the way this works is the first 5 people to say yes in the comments get a 1 card reading. And, oh, that reminds me. Okay. Writing implement. Haha! When you're an artist, there's usually a writing implement within arm's length from any place. Hi, Tiffany! Yay, thanks for coming, Tiffany. You are number 1. You're number 1. You're number 1. All right, so as I was saying, the way this works is the first 5 people to say yes in the comments get a 1 card reading. And then once we do all the 1 card readings, those 5 cards that were individual before go into a full-blown reading that I do for the community. Hi, Carly. Welcome. Yay. And so those 5 cards become kind of a, you fell asleep last time. That's okay. This always gets posted to my YouTube channel, so you can always catch up later. What was I saying? Oh, and so if you were to come to me one-on-one for a full reading, the spread I usually use is called the medicine card spread, and it consists mostly, it's the 4 directions and center, right? You're welcome, Carly. You probably needed the rest. I'm actually thinking about, well, not just thinking about it, I'm planning on doing some videos like fairy tale, bedtime story type things. Because I've been told that my voice is very calming. And so I'm like, hey, that would be kind of cool. So keep your eyes open for that. And so at the end, we'll take those 5 cards and we'll make a medicine card reading. I mean, a medicine wheel spread reading for the, oh, thanks, Rain. I was just singing oodalali, oodalali. Aw, thank you, you guys. So the 5 cards for a community, but even though, I don't want to limit things either. And one of the things that I try to engender in people is that your heart is your authority, right? Hi, brain rot blocks. Your heart is your authority. So even though I'm doing this 5 card spread for the community, if it really rings true for you, take it, claim it, okay? And if that was weird, my feed just cut out. Oh, thank you, brain rot. What was I saying? Oh, so, and even if you are one of the 5 people to get a 1 card reading, which I've got 3 spots left, so all you have to do is say yes in the comments. Um, Even if you're listening and someone else's card rings true to you, claim that. Okay, claim that. That is your heart. If it's ringing, if it's playing your heartstrings, that means it was meant for you. You are the center of your reality. All right, brain rot. It just feels weird to say that. You are number 3. Oh, thank you, Laura. Oh, thank you, brain blot. I want to say brain blot. Thank you, you guys. I appreciate that. So yeah, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos. That helps me and it helps other people to find me if you enjoy my stuff. Um, and you can always find more of me on my website, perchingwolfstudios.net. So you can check me out there, learn more about me, and see what shamanic services I offer, readings and teachings and healings. Oh my. Yeah. So thank you guys for following, for subscribing, and all of that. I appreciate you, all of you. So thank you. So those who are just coming in, if you're new here, the way this works is the first 5 people to say yes in the comments get a 1 card medicine card reading. And I've got 2 spots left. So if you're coming in late and you would like a 1 card reading, that's all you have to do. The next 2 people to do so go get a reading. Anna and Sibia, yay! That's our 5. Woohoo! Last week I only had 4, and so I kind of had to go off script and do a whole. Hi Anna. I had to do a whole kind of improv. I don't usually do 4 card readings, but I'm like, okay, we had 4 individual card readings, so we'll do a 4 card reading, and it worked out pretty well. So, all right, well, let's get going then, huh? Let's see. So, Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other one has to say. Never everything. Oodle-dolly, golly, what a day. Never ever thinking there was danger in the water they were drinking, they just guzzled it down. Never ever dreaming that the sheriff and his keep was watching them and gathering around. All right, card number 1 for Tiffany. Oh, awesome. All right. So card number 1 for Tiffany, we have Hummingbird. So I'm always trying to get it without, there we go, without the glare. What's interesting about Hummingbird is the number is 44, which is an angel number, right? So, hi, Renee. So Tiffany, Hummingbird is joy. Hummingbird is the epitome of joy. It's not holding back. It's letting your true colors show, right? That sparkling, those sparkling feathers, iridescence. Because by the time you get to that point of joy, you have dropped everything you've dropped all the ballast, you've dropped all of the crap that weighs you down. And so your true self is showing through. Right? It's like they're so small and so light. It's like they have no baggage. And they're basically in my mind, they're basically like a little, oh crap, what do you call it? Gyroscope, right? They can, because of the way they beat their wings, I mean, they can hover, they can stay in one place, they can move up or down, even backwards. They're one of the only animals that can fly backwards. And so it's that centeredness, that gyroscope that keeps them centered no matter what's going on around them, right? And they can make near like turns in flight, because in every moment, when you are centered, in every moment, when you are present in every moment, every possible path is available to you. Does that make sense? If you're speeding along, focused on the destination rather on being present, then you're going to bypass opportunities, right? And so this is about staying present in every moment and knowing that no matter what your trajectory has been in the past, the present is your point of power, as Seth always said. In this moment, you can change that trajectory. If you think in quantum physics terms, the future and the past don't exist. Well, they, okay, they both exist. Every possible path exists in the future and in the past. The past is just as uncertain as the future is, right? And think about like the movies or TV series and stuff where all of a sudden there's this new, you're going along for a season or two, and all of a sudden there's this new fact thrown in from way in the past that affects the entire thing, right? And the show itself was just tootling along as if they knew everything about their past and they were heading in the same direction. And all of a sudden, their past is totally different because of that one thing that just came to light, right? So your past is just as unknown as the future is. There's always things moving in your back in the past. In fact, when you are busy manifesting your highest and best future, right? Calling in your highest and easiest timeline, to get to that destination in the future, it's likely that there are things in the past that need to change as well. For example, if you are manifesting your best job, right? Well, before that moment, your past was blank, but when you set that intention for creating that particular future, that prayer, that energy ripples into the past as well, where all of a sudden, 20 years ago, these people started this business. And a moment ago, it didn't exist. And as soon as you set that intention, you align with the past where that thing took place to set up everything that needed to fall in place for that future that you're creating. So you're not only creating the future, you're creating the past as well. And that's what they like. The moment now is all there is. Right here, right now, you are the only stability. You are the only solid, eternal presence. Everything else is mutable. And as solid as things may seem in your world around you right now, it's all temporary. It's temporal. It's of time. And anything of time is temporary. But your soul and your spirit are eternal, which means you have been here since before time began. You are not temporal. You are eternal. You were here before time began, and you will be here after time ends. So no matter what happens in this lifetime, and some people might believe in other lifetimes, some people might believe it's just the one and done, whichever that is doesn't really matter. It's about that being present where you are, right? Because when you're present, that's how you bring that eternity into the moment. Just like, was it Blake who talked about the infinite in a grain of sand and eternity in a moment? You're the one that makes the difference by being present. You are the one that brings meaning to this moment by your presence, right? By your awareness. I talk about this a lot, so some of you are going to get tired of me talking about this. But the most amazing scientific experiment, in my opinion, was the double slit experiment, which they just, I guess, I want to say in the 90s or something, they retested it again just to make sure. But they were trying to decide whether light was a wave or a particle. And so they set up this experiment where they had this backdrop, and then they had a screen, and then they had a light source. And they put one slit into the screen, and the light would go through and it would show a particular pattern on the screen, right? But that didn't let them know whether it was a wave or a particle because it was all going through the same slit. And so they put two slits into that screen so that if light were a particle, it would have to go through one slot or the other one. If it was a wave, it would go through both. And they could tell by the pattern on the backdrop which one it was. If it was, there'd be this interference pattern if it was just choosing one or the other. And if it was a wave, it would be a whole different pattern. And they totally didn't get the results they were expecting. As it turns out, if someone were watching the experiment, if someone was watching, paying attention, being aware of it, light acted as a particle, and they would get that interference. Oh, thank you, Daro. But if no one was watching it, light acted as a wave and went through both spots. The difference was awareness. The difference was perception. And the thing is, even if they had cameras set up so that no one was actively watching it when it was happening, but we're going to watch it after the fact, the light still acted as a particle. But if they unplugged those cameras so that no one was going to be able to see how the experiment unfolded, it acted like a wave because there was no consciousness, there was no awareness, there was no perception of what was happening. So it's your awareness that creates the reality that you find. We've all heard the New Age thing about you create your reality, right? Awareness is a part of that because when you're aware of your reality, normally the universe works like a wave. And it's I think it's called the uncertainty principle, but you can never know exactly where an electron is at the same time that you know its velocity, etc. And it's like the universe, even physical objects, until they are perceived, are just a field of possibility. And it's not until they're perceived that that field breaks down into one specific place. So when you are aware at every moment and you realize your creative power to manifest, right, through visualization, through knowing kind of the mechanics of what's happening. From every moment, you can create a whole different outcome, or you can create a whole different past with your awareness and seeing something totally different from a whole different point of view that brings a whole new dimension to what we thought we knew about the past. Does that all make sense? Um, and here's the good thing is that even if you didn't understand any of the gobbledygook that I just said about the past and the future, that doesn't matter. Here and now, presence. The present is your point of power. And even if you don't know what you want your future to look like, even if you don't know what you want, all you need to do is know how you want to feel. In this moment, you call forth that feeling. In this moment, no matter what's going on around you, you can feel safe, right? You can feel aligned. You can feel calm. You can feel excited. You can feel joyful, even if the world is crumbling around you, right? And when you do that, you're setting up because you're, okay, give me a second. You're opening, you're surrendering to the field of possibilities, right? And when you set that intention for your highest and best future, that's what the universe hears. That's what the universe brings you, right? Energy flows where consciousness goes. And so if you're always open-minded, even if you don't know exactly what you want it to look like, if you put out there how you want to feel, the universe will reflect that. So from the depths of hell, you can create paradise, right? Which would be a really handy thing right now with all the stuff going on, right? And I have to confess that the last little time has been really hard on me, especially the last couple of days after that killing in Minneapolis, because for me it's kind of personal. I grew up there, and I have family. My family lives in that area where all that stuff is happening. And so the guy that was killed by the ICE agents, that could have been any one of my family members, right? And so, not that it's any worse if it were someplace else in the country and someone else was being shot, but it was like, not only am I concerned about everybody, this was a personal inner circle, like concern for my own immediate family. So I have not had the brightest of the last couple of days, but and then here's the thing. See, like this is one thing that they teach you when you learn how to read cards and when you become a psychic reader or whatever. Everything you say for someone else is a message for you as well. I so needed what I just said. I so needed to hear that. And so to hear it coming out of my mouth for somebody else is amazing. And so that's what I mean by this, like when we do these things, I'm not just pontificating from some pillar, right? And telling you how it is. You help me by being present. You help me by showing up. Because this is a community thing. I'm not just, this is my job and so I do it. I'm getting just as much out of this as you are by watching. And so I thank you for that deeply from my heart. So anyway, back to hummingbird. So hummingbird, hummingbirds are little warriors. They are so feisty and they do not back down. and I know this firsthand because it was so funny when I went on my very first vision quest. I'm out in the woods, the state forest in Washington State, and I'm walking to my little campsite, and I never even saw them, but I had a pair of hummingbirds buzz me, like not just buzz me like over my head. My hair, they flew through my hair twice. They don't back down. They are not intimidated because they're in that power of now. And it's that joy that changes all things. I just saw Martha Beck did a live video on Instagram, and if you can go back and find it and watch it, it's really, really good. But she's talking about how, everyone's talking about shifting from the patriarchy to the matriarchy. Well, not everybody, but the cool kids are. Um, and it never dawned on me that it's really the change from brainedness to right-brainedness. It's going from logistics to creativity, because it's the creativity, it's the art, it's the song, it's the stories that save us as a civilization. And that's why tyrants and that ilk try to shut down the creativity. They shut down the arts. They shut down the songs. They outlaw art. They outlaw certain narratives, etc., because they want to be the only voice. And so here comes Hummingbird, brandishing her iridescent throat feathers, saying, "I am here, and I will not be quieted," right? And it's that joy. It's like I mentioned at first, that dropping the ballast, dropping all the heavy things, all the obligations, all the expectations, all the crap that society foists upon you from the time you're born, to getting to this place of freedom and independence and authenticity, purity of who you really are. It's about frequency, right? It's like you raise your frequency to joy. And when you're joyful up here, you have the perspective, and that's what Einstein talked about when he said, you can't solve a problem with the same energy that created that problem. You have to rise above it and come at it with different energy. And so it's that joy, that creativity, coming from up here someplace and putting things together. One thing that Martha Beck said today, and she was quoting someone else, I think, but she said, creativity is constructiveness. Creativity is putting things together, creating solutions. And so be, as much as you can, like I know there's lots of ups and downs, and like I said, I've been experiencing them too, but as much as you can, try to nurture that feeling of joy in your heart, that lightness, to know that everything is going to be okay, that everything is okay, because you are divine, and you are going to survive, whether in the flesh or not. One way or another, you are going to come through this. And there is meaning in every step. There is purpose in every step, right? Part of that presence, I didn't even, well, I set sacred space before I started the video. I've been drumming in, say, well, why don't I just do it now? Just to kind of formalize it. I've been doing that before each video. I actually did it before the video, but I like having it on film as well. So pay attention to how you feel right now. Pay attention to your breath. Pay attention to how calm or how open or closed you feel. And I'll check back with you in a minute. spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, compassionate spirits of the middle world, the fae, the spirits of the land, the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. Only love is invited. Only love gets in. Wow. How do you feel now? Yes, Carly, I did say energy flows where consciousness goes. Like someone told me one time when I was new to this, they said the universe is like a giant yes. Oh, you're so welcome. I know the drumming just, I was going to say, like, how do you feel now? Do you feel, have you noticed your breathing has changed? That's a little bit deeper, that you feel just a little more calmer, you feel more held, right? I'm going to get back to that consciousness goes thing in a minute, but I wanted to say before I forgot, I saw this commercial for this show. I think it was on the Angel Network, which I don't have, but it was this teacher, I think she's a music teacher, and she was doing this like basically guided meditation with her students, and she had them all laying like head to head to head to head to head. And one of the things she said was along the lines of, feel your body, feel the space around you. Realize that that space around us doesn't separate us, it's what connects us. And I just get chills every time I think about that. That space around us doesn't separate us, it's what connects us. It's the air we breathe, right? That we take in, we breathe each other's air. We give off energy, our auras intersect, our light intersects with other people's light, etc. So I just wanted to say that really quick. And yes, energy flows where consciousness goes. The universe is like a giant yes. If you believe one thing, and this is part of that creating your reality, if you believe one thing, the universe will go, yes, and the universe will bring you the evidence you need to maintain that belief system. Even if it's wrong, even if it's not true, the universe will back you up. And so if you believe, that brings in that difference between scarcity mindedness and abundance mindedness, right? If you think everything is problems to get through and everything and resources are scarce and you have to fight each other for them and all that kind of thing, you're going to have a dog-eat-dog world that you're going to be in. And guess what? The person sitting next to you on the bus lives in the same world you do, but they're experiencing a world of abundance because they believe in possibility. They believe in connection. And so they're going to be the ones seeing the pattern, seeing the synchronicities that are happening around them to guide them further toward their own fulfillment. Well, the other person is going to have to fight for their advancement because they believe it. They believe they have to fight for it. Just like in the history of shamanism, in the old time, the shamans, like in the indigenous populations, a lot of them felt like if the shaman didn't fight for their soul, that they weren't worthwhile, that they themselves weren't worthwhile, that they had to have this battle, this spiritual battle for their soul in order for them to receive their soul back. We're talking about like soul retrieval. And so because of the people's beliefs, that was the way that the shamans would do it, and they would take the person on this spiritual battle against demons or monsters or whoever to fight and get and win back that person's soul. Nowadays, for most people, that would just traumatize them more. I know because I actually did a soul retrieval with a friend who's also a shaman, and she did it in that way where she had to go to who was holding the soul part, and she had to try to talk them out of it and try to battle them, and it created more tension in me because I'm like, oh my God, what if they don't give it back? What am I going to do, right? And so today, because the beliefs have shifted so much, it's important to tell, like Sandra Ingerman, my teacher, says, we have to tell healing stories. And so in the context of today's society, we don't usually have to battle someone to get someone's soul parts back or get their heart back, because that's not necessary, because the emphasis, and this is what I always talk about, you are already whole. You are already divine. There is nothing that can take that from you. Nothing. There is nothing anyone can do or say or believe that can take your power. And that's what all shamanic healing is about restoring the memory of wholeness to that person. I don't go and get, I mean, I have my salmon spirit guide that helps me go find soul parts, and we bring them back, we blow them into the person. But all we're doing is reuniting people, reconnecting, giving people permission to feel that wholeness. Not that it's all a sham or that we're making things up, right? I don't mean it that way, but the spirits know our language. The spirits know our imaginings, our mythology, etc. So that is the language they use when we call on them for healing. And so they use those analogies and that language of imagination to help us heal, to help us remember, to use the language that resonates with each of us. And holy cow, did I go off on a tangent. All right. So Tiffany, I hope that helps. Stay joyful. Joy is the answer, right? It's like, well, thank you, Carly. Like Dr. Wayne Dyer said, there is no way to love. Love is the way. And like I just said, use the power. Call in if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling caught up in the whirlwind of chaos and stuff that's going on. Call on Hummingbird to help you center. Ask Hummingbird to surround you with her medicine and to hold you in that place of stillness, the eye of the storm, where you have permission to let your light shine, to see the world from a different perspective. When I'm doing these readings and we're calling on these spirit animals, these are not just metaphors. These are not just some archaic system of archetypes. These are living, breathing, I don't know if that's the right, because they're spirit, but they are living sentient beings that we can call on. So if you get a one-card reading from me during these videos, that animal is there to help you, and you can call on them for help in doing whatever is called for, your next best, highest step, right? So, okay, moving on. I hope that makes sense, Tiffany. I hope that was helpful. All right, Carly, card number 2. Might have to take a bit of an intermission after this one and get myself some water. I forgot to bring some water over with me. It's amazing how hot and sweaty I get when I'm doing this work. It's like a spiritual reader workout. All you need to do is connect to spirit, channel information, and watch those pounds drop. All right, Carly, card number 2 is bat reversed. So, oh, I need to make sure I'm writing down which cards came up so that I can do the group thing at the end. Bat is about reverse. Bat is about reverse. Bat is about rebirth, is what I meant to say. Bat medicine is about going into the cave, right? Anytime we're going into a cave or into the earth or into the dark like that, it is a rebirth. We are re-entering the womb, right? That darkness, that cave, as scary as it might be, as much as we were taught to fear the dark, that darkness is the womb of the mother. That darkness is holding you. And so if you can't see ahead of yourself, if the path, how do they put that in the Celestine prophecies? Like if there's no clear path ahead of you, it's time to rest. And so if you're in the dark, if there's no clear path ahead of you, it's time to rest. It's time to hunker down, to nurture yourself, right? Because if you're in the dark, you're like the seed that's been planted, right? And there's changes and metamorphosis that needs to happen that can only happen in that darkness, that can't happen in the light. And so when you're in that place of darkness, try to embrace the darkness, which of course is easier said than done. But know that there is purpose to it, right? And in reverse, it can be kind of a digging in your heels and resisting the darkness, resisting whatever change is going on, trying to keep control on everything, right? If you think about, it's like when bat comes in, it's like there's a major shakeup in your world usually. And the things that grounded you before, the things that supported you before can no longer hold your weight. Things are crumbling underneath you. Things are changing. And it's not that it's a punishment, it's not that you did something wrong. It's actually a sign that you're doing things right. Because if you weren't growing, it would be the status quo and nothing would need to change. There would be no challenges and you would just go about your life, right? But things are shaking up. And it's not that it's this random falling apart of things. When things are falling apart, it's because other things are making their way in. It's not really a falling apart as much as it's a recalibration. in this illusion of life, in this illusion of this world, the holographic universe. You're like in the middle of a scene change. And so everything that was solid, just the scene before this, has to be taken off stage and a whole new scenery put in. And because the next act of your life will not make sense in the framework of the scenery from the last scene. Does that make sense? That just came to me now, like it's a scene change. And so if we're caught in the ego, if we're caught in being the character we're playing, rather than realizing that we're actually the actor playing a part, then changing the scene is changing our character. It's like our character is so tied to that scenery and that way of life and that pattern and habit, etc., that any change is a blow to the character, to the ego, to who we think we are. And again, you can't you can't you can't solve a problem with the same energy that created that problem. Not that it's a problem, but that scene changing is that other energy coming in to help you grow to a higher level where it will make sense. Is that helpful? Um, and so the one thing I always say when back comes up is, instead of grounding to the earth like we normally do, be like that with your feet in the ceiling of the cave. Ground upward, ground to spirit. That is the only stable, unchanging foundation that you have right now. So whether you picture it up there or in here, some people ground into their heart, into their inner being. However you interpret it, whatever feels the right, resonates with you, is the right thing. But ground inward, ground upward, ground to spirit. And know also that in that darkness, part of the purpose of that darkness is helping you. You're becoming a Jedi. Use the Force. Don't rely on the equipment that is helping you aim at the thing on the Death Star. Use your feelings. Reach out with your feelings. Use the Force. Just like Bat navigates by frequency, literally by vibration. That's sonar. They send out the squeaks and it comes back. That's why their ears are so big, right? They get three-dimensional vision from those frequencies coming back. It's like the holographic vision of what's going on. And so pay attention to your intuition right now. Pay attention to the hits that you're getting when you're meditating, or just those spontaneous little kernels of knowledge or wisdom that come in. Trust those. It's happening because you're in the dark, because you're learning a new way to navigate. So use the Force. And like I said, it wouldn't be happening if there weren't a better outcome in store. You're so welcome, Carly. All right, brain rot blocks. Is card number 3. So just speaking as a shaman and as someone who's been on this metaphysical path for a long time, and going with my earlier thing about energy flows where consciousness goes, I'm just gonna say that names are important. right? This isn't a judgment. This is not a reprimand or anything like that. Just something to think about. But words and names are important. And kind of like with animals don't know the words, but they get the feelings, right? And so um, I knew my former in-laws neighbor named their dog Shithead. Um, and he was. And it's like there's so many examples. I could come up with so many examples of that where the animal, the pet, reflects the name you give them, because every time you say that, there's an energy there, there's a perception there, you're projecting an image or a feeling of what that name means, right? And animals, they pick up those feelings, and like especially like dogs and such are that's like, oh, okay, that's what they want me to do. And so they will act accordingly. And it's amazing how just changing a pet's name. There's a, you can find this on YouTube someplace. There was a Black Panther in a reserve someplace that its name was like El Diablo or something like that. It was like the devil. And it was feisty and no one liked to work with her or him. And it was like, they finally called in an animal communicator to see what could be done, if there was anything they could do, because the next step was probably to be euthanizing. And that's what the panther asked for. Give me a different name. And I can't remember what the name is that they gave. It was like Spirit or something like that. And the panther's behavior and energy changed overnight. And so I'm just saying, when you choose a name, whether it's for email or an identity online, et cetera, be aware of what the energy is that you're putting out there. Think about the energy that comes to mind when you say that name or think that name. So I'm just going to call you Brain for now on, okay? I'm not going to do the rest of that. So just, what are we doing tonight, Brain? Same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world. Which is another example. God, I'm on so many tangents. I apologize. The whole Pinky and the Brain thing. You know what Brain's biggest stumbling block is? He always says, same thing we do every night. Going to try to take over the world. He says, try. He never says, we're going to take over the world. Energy flows where consciousness goes. Oh, they want to try. And in order to keep trying, they can't ever succeed, right? So just saying. when you're a shaman and a cartoonist, those are the things that you think about. All right, Brain. Nerve. Card number 3. All right. Card number 3 for Brain is Bear in reverse. Bear, especially in reverse, is about a need to withdraw. Again, kind of like that going into the cave. You know, just like the world has her cycles and her divine timing of seasons, etc., each of us individually has our own cycles, right? And a lot of times our personal individual cycles follow those of the Earth Mother. So when it's wintertime, our bodies want to, it's dark earlier, daylight is only so many hours of the day. And so we're more tired. We might be more grumpy because we're trying to stay up just as late as we do normally. We're trying to do as much, if not more, than we do during like the summertime when it's light till 10 in the evening. Um, and so this is about paying attention to your own body. Again, being present. Um, if you're tired, take a nap. Um, there was this one woman I used to follow. I can't remember her name now. I think she was a Hay House, um, and she was author, I think, and she was a comedian. But she used to say how the graveyard is full of indispensable people. You do not have to hold the world together. You are not indispensable. And so it's like listening again to your heart, to the authority of your own heart. If someone asks you to do something, never say yes out of guilt or out of duty. If your heart says no, say no. Because if your heart isn't resonating with what they're asking of you, there's someone else who needs to help them for the mutual benefit of both parties. So by you overriding your heart and your feelings, because you think, well, I'd better do this because who else is going to help them? You're not helping anybody. You're acting toward the depletion of your own energy and your own integrity, and you're not giving the other person exactly what they need at that time. And so right now with Bear in Reverse, it's not a suggestion any longer. It's a necessity that you need to listen to yourself, that you need to set the priority to yourself. Um, Hi, Astrius. No, I don't have any spots left, but we're on card number 3, and it's Bear in Reverse. So you can either pick 3, 4, or 5, or you can watch and replay and see 1 or 2. But thanks for joining us, though. Good to see you. And so Bear is about introspection. It's about like I talked about Bat earlier. Our last card, Bat, is going into the cave, and there's a certain sense, at least in my feelings, that that's not necessarily voluntary. That Bat going into the cave is what are the words I want? It's kind of like the choiceless choice. Either you do or you or it gets worse, right? With Bear, it's more of a knowing when to go into the darkness consciously. Oh God, I'm so tired. Oh, things are overwhelming. It's time for me to go hibernate for a while. It's time to me to pull away from the world, go into the darkness where I'm not so stimulated, where I can quiet the voice of the world. And in my case, I always find that I hit these points where it's important. How do I put this into words? It's more important for me to express my voice, to put my words and feelings, etc., out into the world, whether it's journaling, whether it's art, whether it's my drawing comics. It's like putting my vibe out into the world rather than just sitting and soaking in all the vibes that are out there. That's the dark is that cushion that keeps you safe. Again, it's the womb. It's a rebirth. But with bear, it's more of a conscious, okay, I've gone as far as I can with this thing. I need to recharge. I need rebirth. I need to just let everything go and pay attention to my heart, right? And right now is the time when bears are in their cave. So it's like you're synced up to the same cycles that the earth is. It's time to start paying attention to that connection rather than trying to, override nature. Oh, we're human, we're superior, we don't have to listen to nature. Someone said one time that civilization is only a few feet deep. If you think about our cities, if you think about civilization, we are just on the surface. Nature engulfs us. There is so much more nature than civilization. We are not the top dog. Um, Civilization is only a few feet deep. We think that we're superior because we can pave roads and raise these spires into the sky, etc., etc. But then comes a natural disaster and it all crumbles, right? Unless we learn, like there's more and more learning how to create like earthquake resistant buildings and architecture, etc., where we're starting to work with the earth. We're working with the patterns rather than just overriding them, say, I am here, I am human, I am the king. Nature must kneel before me. Let's see how that works for you. But anyway, so brain, for you personally, it's really time to do some inner thought, to pull inward. It's okay. It's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence, okay? Um, and each of us are here with our own agenda, our own plan. We're here for our own purposes. And that individual purpose overrides any feelings of obligation. I'll say false feelings of obligation or expectations that we're raised with, that you have to do this, you have to play this role. We've always done it this way, so you have to continue to do it this way. You are here for your own purposes. When you live from the heart, again, your heart is your authority. Your heart is what connects you to Creator. So what you feel in your heart is that still silent voice of the divine. And your heart is what connects you to the heart of every living being. And so when you do what's joyful for you, when you do what's heart lifting for you, when you choose to honor your heart over what you're supposed to do, your heart being connected to all other hearts, has already done the calculations. And it's saying, say no to that person or to that event or whatever. Trust that. It may not look like it on the surface. Others might get mad or whatever. But by honoring your heart, you are honoring the heart of all beings. Your whatever mission or purpose or experience that you decided to be present, be incarnate at this time in history for, is your priority. No one else in the cosmos has the authority or the power to tell you what you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to be. There is no one greater, there is no one lesser than you. You have the authority of your heart, which is the authority of Creator. That's all you need, okay? So be that fierce mama bear right? Nurture yourself. Fiercely care for yourself. Create that safe space around you, like no one gets through this. Not in a way to close you off and to protect, to clamp down to protect your heart, but in a way like, again, that expression. It's like boundaries. Have boundaries. And and stand your ground. Watch those boundaries fiercely. Fierce compassion. Fierce self-compassion. And when you feel you have to exert that, you have to show the teeth, you have to show the claws, you might have to even roar at someone. That's a language meant not to escalate things, not to create conflict, but to express that this is the line. If you cross the line, this is what's waiting for you. So don't cross this line. It's a way of avoiding conflict. So stand up for yourself. Say no. No is a complete sentence. Okay? All right. Card number 4 for Anna. Never ever dreaming there was danger in the water they were drinking, they just guzzled it down. Never ever thinking that the sheriff and his posse was a-watching them and gathering around. Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest, jumping fences, dodging trees, and trying to get away. Contemplating nothing but escape and finally making it. Oodle-lolly, golly, what a day. Oodle-lolly, golly, what a day. Ha! Card number 4 for Anna. We have Ant. Ant. So the word in the book that comes with this deck, the word for ant is patience. But I've learned that I try not to just say that outright because people are like, oh crap. And then they shut down, like, oh crap, I gotta be patient. Because it's one of the hardest things for people in our society to do, right? Oh, like, tell me I have to slow down. Fine, I've heard it before, and it doesn't go anywhere. So, when I think about Ant now, it's kind of, yes, it's about patience, but it's also, again, about presence. It's about, you can't build the penthouse without building a solid foundation first, right? Every floor of the building is necessary to support the penthouse at the top. When I was little, in 4th grade, I went to a Catholic school, and my 4th grade teacher was Sister Agnes, who was a great friend, and she's one of my spiritual mentors, actually, until she died a number of years ago. But even when she was dying, she was like, all right, Pat, you know that from now on, There's going to be someone in heaven holding the door open for you. I'm just like, oh my God. Anyway, so one thing that she taught us was all the way to heaven is heaven. And if you ever saw her going somewhere and you asked where she was going, she would say, to heaven. It was like that whole idea, every step to heaven, or, substitute whatever you're manifesting, whatever destination you're aiming for, joy or balance or whatever it is. Every step to get there is necessary. You can't get there from here without every single step in between. Every step is just as important as any other step. And if you want to think of it kind of holographically, it's like in a hologram, in a holographic image, every portion of the image contains the entire image. And so every step toward a certain destination or a certain destiny contains that destination within it. You're already there. You're just filling in the footwork. And so wherever you are is perfect. Wherever you are is exactly where you need to be in the process of whatever you are creating or whatever path you are following. And again, like I said with Bear, right, the picture of this ant has, this tiny little piece of leaf in his mandibles. That is all that this ant is responsible for. Because there are millions and millions of other ants carrying one tiny piece of leaf. And by each one carrying this tiny bit of leaf, the entire anthill feeds, right? They're not carrying loads and loads and loads, right? Like, it reminds me of like I said earlier, I grew up in Minnesota. And we went to there's a fort, I can't remember which fort it is. There's a fort that's kind of it's close to the Minnesota-Canadian border. And it's where a lot of the voyageurs used to come through, who were the French fur traders. And they were notoriously short and notoriously strong. And we were at that fort one day, and this guy was giving a demonstration on what the voyageurs actually carried. And they had these big kind of square packs, like huge, like a pack. This guy was pretty short. He was maybe 5 foot or 4 foot something. And each of these packs were at least as tall as he was. And so he had one, and it had kind of a headband on it. And he bent over, and he had one there. He had another one strapped around his middle. So he's bent over, and he's holding one pack this way, the other pack this way. And then they tossed another pack on top to fit in between where these two packs were sitting like this. And each of those packs was 100 pounds. So you had these voyageurs carrying 300 pounds on their back through the woods, portaging between rivers and lakes and such, which is insane. One little piece of leaf, that's all you need. It's like, take care of whatever is in front of you. You're not meant to be weighed down, right? And if you're watching this, chances are you're here because you're drawn to this kind of thing. And you actually, though you may have been made to feel throughout your lifetime weaker, or like there's something wrong with you, or that you're not as good or as strong as other people are. The fact is, you're actually stronger. The problem, like neural divergence, right? It's like it's not that your brain works slower than others. It's that your brain works so much faster than others that you're taken in like 10 times the information that other people are. And that's what slows you down. And so it's when you, if you're watching this, chances are you're stronger than most people. You're quicker than most people. You feel more than most people. And because you do, our tendency is to try to carry other people. And we try to carry other people's stuff. We try to take lessons away from people by carrying it. I don't want that person to experience that. That's not our job, right? Hi, Charles. I am doing well, thank you. I hope you are too. Um, we're there to hold the door open. We're there to help guide and to hold people together if they need that, and if they really need carrying until they can get on their own feet, we can do that. But like one of my favorite sayings is, no able-bodied adult should be carried to the top of the mountain. Our job is to help people find their own strength. You're not meant to carry others, right? Maybe temporarily, like I said, but if you're already carrying a full load on your back, you've got no open arms to assist anybody else, right? So put the world down, take the world off of your shoulders, and just pay attention to what's in front of you. Um, because you are not alone. You are so part of the whole. There's billions of us on the planet. And despite some appearances, the majority of us are for wholeness, for respect, for lawfulness, for inclusion, for love, which is evident with all of the things going on all over the world with the rallies and demonstrations and stuff. I don't like calling them protests because, like, even Mother Teresa, they in the 60s, people kept asking her to take part in their protest, and she refused. She's like, I'm never going to take part in a protest. Call if it's a pro something else, if it's a pro peace rally, I will take part in it, but I will not take part in a protest, because consciousness or energy flows where consciousness goes. Names, what we call things, is important. So I always say I'm going to the rally or I'm going to the demonstration. I'm demonstrating my rights. I'm demonstrating what I stand for. I'm not putting myself diametrically opposed to what's going on. I'm looking beyond it. I am pro love. I am pro connection. I am pro peace. And that might take me into opposition with someone temporarily. But I was talking to my girlfriend about this last night. At the same time that I can be filled with anger and rage about what's going on and about what people are doing, at the same time, on a different level, I can still see the divine spark in every single person. And that is the important distinction to make, because we are all in this together. I don't know how I got on that tangent, but so again, prioritize yourself, prioritize your own needs. Because if it's coming from your heart, if it's a desire from the heart, if it's a desire or a need that comes from your essential being, again, that's automatically in harmony with the needs of all beings. You are not alone. The space between us is what connects us, not what separates us. And there are billions of us working toward the same goals. They might not seem the same, or they might be using different language or whatever, but there is a groundswell of consciousness rising right now that is very evident if you can shut out the voices of opposition, um, and things that are all the cynicism or the doomsayers or the inevitability people, whatever. It's evident. It's so clear to see this consciousness that's rising. And like that, like I was talking about earlier, it's that consciousness rising that is shattering all the former institutions and structures, because there's a whole new reality coming into place because we're ready for it. We are ready to live in a world that's united. We are ready to live in a world of lawfulness, of respect, of inclusion. It's happening. It's hard to see sometimes. I know. Believe me, I know. But it's important to honor those things when they come up, the grief, the anger. And again, like instead of using that anger to burn yourself up out of despair or feeling useless, it's like using that anger. Someone called it divine rage, like Kali Ma, that energy of rage that is the fuel for change. It's not meant to burn you up. It's meant to fuel you forward, to create, right? Creation is constructive, to create new ways of being, of relating, of moving forward. So, simplify. You can simplify. Tiny little ant. All you have to do is take care of that one piece of leaf that you found to bring to the anthill. Everybody gets fed. Taking care of yourself is taking care of the community. And when you need help, it's because you're not alone. The other ones who are strong in themselves, not taking on more than they're supposed to, will be there to lend a hand, to help you, carry you if you need it for a time being, help you to get back on your feet. And then it's like that mutual support. No one left behind. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. This is going to be a long one tonight. I apologize. I've got one more card for the individual cards, and then we're going to do our 5-card community reading. And for those of you who are still with me, I thank you for your tenacity, your persistence, your dedication. I'm learning to just let the tangents be, because that's just kind of the way I relate. So if I catch myself too far on a tangent, I'll kind of rein it in a little bit. But whatever comes through me in one of these videos, at least, in part is drawn out from whoever is watching. You are an active participant in this. Just your watching this is drawing words and pictures and concepts out of me. It's not a one-sided, stagnant, lifeless thing. the space between us is what connects us. So, card number 5 for Sivia. Ha! So, turtle. Thank you, Carly. Thank you, Carly. I appreciate that. I get so humbled by, I don't take, I have a hard time receiving compliments and such, if you haven't noticed, if you've been watching me for any amount of time. So thank you for that. Sivia, card number 5 is turtle. Turtle is Mother Earth. Turtle is foundation. Turtle is the ground beneath our feet. But it's also, she is, it's not actually, I take that back a little bit anyway. Hold that thought. I need to get some water. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Robin Hood and Little John run through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other one has to say. Oofda. Ah! Alterquake. All right. I will see to that when we're done. Give me a second. Oh, I was really dehydrated. Okay, so Sivia, turtle. Not so much the ground beneath our feet as the ground within us. Turtle is always home, no matter where she goes, on land or in sea. She carries her home with her. She's always complete and whole in herself. So again, there's that overriding message of presence. Because she's complete in herself, because she carries everything she needs with her, she can be present. She has no wants or needs in that way, so she can focus on what's in front of her. So she can stay grounded. She carries her sense of stability with her. Her stability, her well-being is not dependent on what's going on around her or above her or below her. It's kind of like that. I've sung this before, but there's that song I love by the group Lebana. That's be like the bird who pauses in her flight on a branch so slight that it gives way beneath her, yet sings, sings, knowing she has wings, yet sings, sings, knowing she has wings. It's not the world you depend on. It's not other people you depend on. It's knowing you have wings. It's knowing that you're complete. It's knowing you have a relationship, a personal relationship with Creator, with Divine, with the source of all things. And that is the source of your personal power. Not what others give you, not what you might, gain in the physical world. It's that connection to spirit that draws everything you need to you. And so again, there's that sense of pulling inward. and that you carry your protection with you. You're protected by, yes, the internal compass of you. Exactly. And actually, in a way, you don't even need a compass because you're always home. No matter where you go, there you are. So when you're whole, when you know yourself in that wholeness and that completeness, um, not that you're not going to want things or not that you're not going to need things, but it's knowing that when when you feel a need or a desire for something, it's knowing that it's already completed, that that feeling of need or that feeling of desire is actually the compass, that what you need is already happening. Otherwise, you couldn't feel the um, what is the word I'm looking for? You couldn't feel the absence of whatever that is. You wouldn't recognize the absence. And so if you need something, if you desire something, that is proof in the universe that it exists and that it's already yours, or you wouldn't be aware of it. Um, and the other thing that I love about Turtle is that um, she, when there's chaos and storms on the surface, she doesn't stay up on the surface and try to fight the waves and stay afloat and curse the winds or whatever. She drops down. She drops down to a level where it's silent, where it's still, and she lets the storm blow itself out. She doesn't need to fix anything. She doesn't need to put the pieces together. She drops down to a place. And there again with Martha Beck, a class I took with her, she taught us this meditation where you picture yourself in this boat on the water, and you've got your scuba gear on, or you can breathe underwater, whichever you prefer. Um, and it's like the waves start getting higher and higher, and so you put this rope over the edge of the boat, and then you visualize yourself going down that rope, like, you know, and descending until you get it to a point where the water is still, where it's silent, there's no motion. That's your inner self. That's the stability. That's that part of you that is eternal, that never changes, that cannot be threatened. And then when it's time, you rise back up to the surface, carrying that peace with you and bringing that peace and wholeness back into the world, and being a part of the world and connected to everyone and everything else. That wholeness ripples out from you and affects everyone and everything else. So know that even if things feel unstable, even if things are whirlwindy, um, everyone knows it's windy, um, that there is a stability within you that is accessible at any time. So no need for a teacher. That is a really, really good question. Hi, Melissa. Um, Ultimately, I would say no, that you don't need a teacher, right? Because you're finding your way, and the world, as being that outward reflection of you and your beliefs, etc., the world is your teacher, right? And at the same time, you know, no man is an island. We are not, we are a social animal. We were built to relate to others, and and through those relationships, sometimes um, a teacher is like a teacher in the skin, in the flesh, is important because there's certain things that they can relate to us, right? And so um, I would say there's not a need for like a single teacher. Like you don't have to choose a single path. Like a lot of people that I know. Oh, hi, Melissa from New Zealand. Ha. Well, Melissa, we're talking about turtle medicine at the moment, and you're going on a date tonight. You're wondering how it's going to go. No matter what the other person does or says or acts, however they act, it's up to you. You are complete in holding yourself. You carry your protection with you. You're always home. And so enjoy yourself. Don't try to appease the other person. Don't try to fall into roles like, oh, well, I got to do this. Or they'll think I'm weird. Like, if you're weird, be weird. That's the only way you find your people. So, anyway, so I was saying, Sylvia, about the teacher. I know a lot of people like me who are recovering Catholics who like leave the church and then they spend all their time looking for the path. Is it Buddhism? Is it Judaism? Is it Islam? Is it this? Is it paganism? Is it Wicca? Is it, and they're trying to choose from all these separate paths that other people have already been walking for thousands and thousands of years when, like, I think it was Joseph Campbell who was talking about if the road you're following is paved, it's not your road because you're a trailblazer. We're meant to be. No one has walked our path before us, right? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Melissa. What a beautiful thing that your dear friend used to swim with the turtles. Take that. That's him saying hi. I just got chills. That's why you popped up when you popped up. Synchronicity. Synchronicity. That is so cool. Have a good date, Melissa. I hope it goes well. And I'm sorry about Travis passing. You're so welcome, Melissa. So, like, some people need one specific teacher because that's what works for them, because they need that focus and they need that stability or consistency. But always, 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 the student is meant to surpass the teacher, right? Oh, that's right, Sylvia. You swim with with the turtles too. That's so cool. I would love to do that. People like me, like I've had a number of different teachers, you know, and I include like Ellen Watts, Joseph Campbell, um, people that I just read their books as teachers, and then I've got physical teachers like Lisa Williams, the psychic medium, and Sandra Ingerman has been my biggest teacher in the flesh that I've actually taken courses from. I actually took Sandra Ingerman's 2-year shamanic training. Um, and the thing is, like, and when I teach, I'm a teacher, right? When I teach, my point is not to create carbon copies of myself or to tell you what to believe or how things work for you or what you have to do. My job is to help using what I have gained from my own trials and tribulations, from my own experiences, sharing that as a way to help others find their own inspiration, their own resonance for their own path. And so, kind of like they say, like a leader creates more leaders, not followers. A teacher creates more teachers, not students. And so, the world is the world is a veritable smorgasbord, smorgasbord, smorgasbord. Um, the world is a smorgasbord, and we're at a time where we've got so many traditions and pathways available that, and not in a appropriation kind of way or a stealing, but in learning from the pathways. Like one of my Tom Cowan, who was another one of my teachers in the flesh, taught us that you have 3 kinds of ancestors: ancestor of blood, of course, ancestors of spirit, and ancestors of story. Your ancestors of spirit can be like me. I'm mostly Irish. My ancestors are Irish and European for the most part. But I'm really drawn to Native American things, especially Lakota things. A great proportion of my spirit guides just happen to be Lakota or Sioux from the Great Sioux Nation, right? And in my first vision quest that I mentioned earlier, Sitting Bull showed up, and you know, I had just been talking to Jesus, Yeshua, the Son of God. You know, I was raised Catholic. He's always been with me. He was my first spirit guide in a way, and I learned how to, not just talk to him, but to actually have conversations. Anyway, so I'd been talking with him like it was no big deal, and then Sitting Bull shows up, and I'm like, oh my God. Sitting Bull, the Sitting Bull, really? Like went all fanboy on Sitting Bull. And what he told me, and this was way before I had taken Tom Cowan's class and learned about those ancestors, he actually told me that. He said, we are not your ancestors of blood, but we are your ancestors of spirit. And he thanked me for taking part, for doing this ceremony, even though it wasn't my blood heritage, but that it was my spiritual heritage. And so when you follow your heart, you can do no wrong. If it calls to you, follow it. People might come at you, right? I've had people come at me for doing sacred pipe ceremonies, the peace pipe. And I won't go too much into that, but that is so much a part of who I am. I couldn't stop that if I wanted to. I could try, like, oh, I'm appropriating, I'm offending people, I better stop. My heart won't let me. I can't not do that. So anyway, so follow your path, follow your heart. If a teacher shows up, like I said, like listening to the card, like what's said for each card. If there's something that's said in a different card than the one that you chose, claim it, take it, it's yours. If you start following someone that's resonating with you, and they're expanding, you feel yourself expanding because of what you're learning from them, they're your teacher. What we're trying to not avoid isn't the right word, but it's like always go toward. If something becomes exclusionary, if something starts to feel not resonant, or we start to believe things on blind faith just because a certain person said it, then we aren't truly learning. Oh, I'm so glad that resonates with you and means so much right now. Whew. All right. So that was all of our individual cards. Now I'm going to take those 5 cards. So give me a minute. I have to shuffle through my little chart here and find all the cards from tonight's reading so I can put them into the... I'm going to do a 5-card reading using the 5 individual cards and do a reading for the community. Holy crap, where are you? What are they all in the same? And like I said earlier, if it, I say community, it's kind of like, I kind of figure it's kind of like the way our communities, big and small, are progressing right now, kind of like guidance for our communal spirits, etc. But if it resonates with you on a deep level, claim it as your own. I'm just giving information, and you are welcome to take it and do with it whatever feels right, in whatever way. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try to do this in this way so you can see the cards. Let's go. Okay. And I want to make sure I didn't hit the... Why can't I get that? Gosh. Oh, okay. Why aren't you? Trying to get the pen down so it'll see all. There, maybe. Okay. Whew. Make sure I didn't hit the mic buttons. I muted myself 1 week. I did this whole reading and nobody heard it. Okay, you're supposed to be reversed. So now I'm not sure because my phone is in mirror mode, I think, and so I don't know if this is actually going to come out the way. This is east, south, west, and north, and center. And so I don't know which way it might be flipped because of the setting on my phone, but that's the way I'm reading this. It's from your perspective, so these 2 cards are reversed. And so I always start in the east, where the sun rises. So over here we have Hummingbird, who is joy. It's interesting that she's in the east, where it's the dawn. It's like the dawn of something new. It's the dawn, greeting the morning, like that, casting off all of the heaviness of the nighttime, all of the unknown of the dark, and embracing joy, embracing beauty, right? Truth and beauty, which is the food of poets and artists, right? Um, so there's this seeing the beauty in all things, seeing the connection in all things, and not only seeing it around you, but in that joy of seeing beauty in everything around you, that beauty starts to show from you. Um, through those iridescent feathers of hummingbird, especially like the throat, like the jewel-throated, ruby-throated hummingbird, etc., where these feathers are almost lit from within, and so there's this sense of um, beauty not only around you, but when you appreciate that beauty, it starts to rise up and shine from you. And so we start with joy. Um, we drop the heaviness. Give me a moment. I'm tuning in to see where to go next. Um, and just like the cycles of the earth, whether it's the seasons or the day and the night, night necessarily follows day. And um, as long as we are in physical bodies, there's always more to know. There's always more to discover. There's always more to be aware of. And so there comes a time of necessarily dying to what's known to be reborn into what is. There's a deepening happening. Um, there's a deepening of going into that darkness and learning different languages, learning different navigation techniques, right? Um, and in reverse, it's like that is about rebirth, and especially being here in, so this is east, so that's the mental realm, right? Air in the mental realm. This is south, this is fire. So this is the place of action, and it's the place of passion. And the fact that that is here in reverse is in a way saying that the action that's called for is inaction. You're in the dark, and this can be scary because you just came from the light, you saw this beauty, things were heading in a certain direction, and all of a sudden, boom, they took a right turn, literally. And now it's like this darkness of chaos and not that you're not meant to act in the world. I'm not saying that you don't participate, but there's kind of this recalibration, this reassignment of things. It's like questioning things because nothing works the way it used to any longer. And so there's a certain disillusionment that comes in. But that's all part of that process of, in shamanism, we talk about dismemberment. We have these, sometimes our guides will come in when we're on a shamanic journey, and they will literally tear us apart piece by piece and then put us back together. So dismember us, and then they remember us and they put us back together. And sometimes they take out things that weren't working, or they take out things that don't belong, that don't support our well-being. And sometimes both. Sometimes they put things in, like crystals or certain understandings or health or energy to help boost us. And so right now is kind of a general dismemberment. Things are falling apart so that they can be put back together stronger and healthier than they were before. I'm always finding beads. I don't know if you can see that. I've got so many beads hanging around in my carpeting. And so part of that dismemberment, again, like I said earlier, so for bat, it's about not grounding into the earth, grounding into the world around you. It's about grounding into your spirit, your inner spirit, or grounding upward to spirit, to what is eternal, to what is untouchable. Because that's the only stability right now when everything else in the world is changing and chaotic and falling apart. But keep the faith in that it's falling apart because there's something moving in to replace it. It's not random. And part of this darkness is teaching us how to navigate, how to relate to the universe in a different way, to really come from a place of the heart, to come from a place of vibration, feeling things out, sending out that vibration and receiving vibrations back, and in that way telling us which direction to go in or not go in, right? Learning to navigate in the dark from the heart. And then we move up to the west, which is water. So that's like the emotional realm. And over here we have bear, also in reverse. So it's kind of like these two reverse cards is kind of where things are happening right now. It's like what things are in transition, the things that where the action is happening right now. And bear in reverse here for me in the west, in the emotional realm, is kind of an owning of your own feelings, owning your own issues. Again, going inside of yourself. Like I said earlier, it's like consciously choosing to go into that darkness rather than being kind of forced in or not necessarily forced, but that choiceless choice. It's like you don't really have a lot to say. And this is turning that around by consciously moving into that darkness, utilizing that darkness rather than feeling victimized by it. It reminds me of my friend used to do a podcast about Wayne Dyer, and she interviewed this guy who had been in prison for some, I think, white collar, is that, I always get white collar, blue collar, all that kind of stuff mixed up, but basically for embezzlement. And it was something like he somehow fell into it. He didn't pay attention until it was too late for what he was really doing, et cetera, et cetera. And so he found himself after prison on a plane somewhere thinking, my life is over. How the heck am I ever going to make things work? And then it hit him to act as though he chose this. Act as though everything in his recent past had been a decision, had been a choice. And by doing that, he could move forward. He wasn't victimized by it. He wasn't disempowered by it. He was taking his power back. Like if you say, oh, I have to do that, versus, oh, I decided to do that. Hi, Kit Kat. There's so much power in just that word, decision, decide. Acting as though he chose to do it gave him the power he needed to pivot, right? Look, it's opposite hummingbird. Like I said, it's a little gyroscope. Pivot can go at any moment, can go in any direction. So by choosing it, by going into that present moment, present is your point of power. He wasn't victimized or trapped by his past and was able to choose which way he was going to move forward. And choosing, hi Kit Kat, to say hi to Kira. Okay. He could choose how to move forward and utilize that darkness to create more light, to create more purpose, to let that be fuel rather than the box to keep him restricted. So it took a lot of, like I said, Bear is about introspection. It's about going within, being your own counsel, shutting off the rest of the world, going into the dark so that you don't have that stimulation constantly screaming at you from the outside world, so that you can actually hear the voice of your heart, right? Into that mothering, right? Mother Bear. Bear, I've heard, was the very first deity ever worshipped by humanity because she had dominion over life and death. For all intents and purposes, she died and then came back to life every spring. And so she was like the first deity. If you look, like the oldest known burial sites of humans usually have bear bones or bear skulls in them. And so there's this cosmic mother. It's like that darkness is the womb of the cosmic mother. And in that darkness exists every possible path, every possible future. So from that point, present in your awareness, aware of your presence in the moment, you are able to decide which path you want to follow. And from this place of darkness, be born into the light and bring with you into the light the path that you chose, the path that you dreamed into being while you slept through the winter. If we move up here to the north is earth, so that's the physical realm, logistical realm, how things manifest, how things present themselves. So up here we have ant. And again, there's this sense of presence, the sense of step by step, moment to moment. Like, oh crud, what's his name? The guy who wrote, there's a book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, Dan Millman. And one of the things that he said in that book is there are no ordinary moments. Every moment is extraordinary. Every moment is unique. Every moment is a new moment of creation. It is not beholden to anything that came before. Meaning in the way that you can decide every single moment which direction you're going to go. You're never stuck on one path. You always have a choice on which way to go. And similar to what I said earlier about hummingbird and that dropping dropping the ballast. Like, I love the analogy of your soul as a hot air balloon, right? And as you rise, as you become more and more aware, your balloon is lifting off the ground. But if you have certain amounts of ballast, sandbags, or ties to the earth, your balloon is only going to go so high. And it's not until you drop those ties or you drop the ballast that your balloon, your consciousness is going to rise to where it's meant to be. But your soul, when left alone, naturally rises. And so here again is this idea of lightness and strength. You're strong, but you're also not overloading yourself. You're becoming your whole self. You're emphasizing your own well-being. And you're only taking care of what's your responsibility, what's in front of you, knowing that you are not alone. There are billions of us present here, moving in the same direction, and with each individual taking care of just what's in front of them, what's the next best step, everything is taken care of. Kind of like in the Tao Te Ching where he says, without, how does it, okay, depending on the translation, it's like, without doing everything, nothing is left undone. It's effortless. It's the flow and the unfoldment of reality. And when we stay present in every step, we're always home. And destinations become milestones rather than ultimate destinations, right? Like, again, I guess I'm supposed to talk about that first vision quest I went on. When I was there, White Buffalo Calf Woman came to me, who's also been one of my main spirit guides for many, many, many years. What she told me was that my path was meant to be shared. And originally I took that to mean I was supposed to write a book. And I'm like, what the hell do I know? What would I write in a book? But what I did is at that time I started a blog. The latest of which you can find in the description, the link for my latest blog. But I started writing a blog, keeping a blog. And I realized that writing in a blog is kind of like journaling, and it's kind of like it's writing a book in slow motion. And all of a sudden I'm, 10, 20 years in, I have 10 or 20 years worth of blog entries. Boom, there's the book. Without effort, without trying to write a book. Boom, I arrive. It's almost, a second. It's almost like, oh, there it is. By the time you get there, it's old news. And so all these destinations that you set, it's like, oh, look. Oh, cool, I manifested that. Meanwhile, I'm on my way to this other manifestation or destination. So what it comes down to is wherever you are is exactly the right place to be. You are everything you need to be in every moment. In this moment, you are whole. You are complete. You are home. You are divine. And you are connected. Think about the water. Think about the ocean. I've heard that like to fish and stuff, water's invisible. You try to talk to fish about water, they'd be like, what the heck are you talking about? I don't see anything, just the way that we talk about air. But it's that water, it's that space between them that connects them. You're connected to an entire world, an entire global community. And that's why it's important to stay centered in yourself. And by being centered in yourself in the moment, just like the hologram, you contain the entire hologram within yourself. And just like ants, who, if a certain ant who's, ants have different jobs in the anthill, and if a certain ant dies that was doing a certain job, all of a sudden another ant whose job was to do something over here, he will um, physically change to adapt to this new, to step into this job. Because every ant in the anthill contains within them the potential to do every single different job. Only one might materialize at a time, but if there's need for a certain thing to be filled, an ant will step in and will physically, chemically, genetically change in order to have what is needed to fulfill that role. That's where the adventure lies. You never know what's going to happen, what new thing is going to arise from within you, what new desires, what new inspiration is going to hit, what new things, seeing the beauty in the world around you, is going to spark in you to express, to bring your own joy, your own expression of your true authentic self into the world. And that makes all the difference. The better we all do, the better we all do. The more whole we each are in ourselves, the better off society is. It's a healthier society if everyone has their needs met, everyone has their health and well-being seen toward, everyone has a safe place to live, everything is taken care of. That's not communism, it's like that's the way we were meant to live. We're here as one family. And the more whole each of us are, the more impassioned each of us are in our own joy and our own purpose in the world, the better off everyone in the world is as well. It feeds upon itself. So, oh, hello, welcome back. To answer you, so Daro asked, is there a reason the bear and bat are in reverse? And I kind of said that it's kind of like those are the places, they're in reverse because that's where the transitions are taking place. It's kind of like the seed that's been planted but hasn't quite blossomed yet. We want this extreme close up. Let's back up a little bit. There we go. So the reason they're in reverse is not because we're doing anything wrong, or we have to straighten up or whatever. They're in reverse because, number one, like Sylvia said, that's how they came up in the individual reading. And so that's how I'm putting them into the community reading. And like that, it's the transitional place. It's kind of the place where the changes are taking place. As both of these are in the dark, in the cave, right? In the womb of the earth, in the womb of the cosmic mother. And so the seeds have been planted in the earth and they just haven't risen yet. So I hope that makes sense. Went kind of late tonight, but I thank you. Oh, there's still people watching. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. And yes, my cat, Kira, I'm not sure. I think she's a part Maine Coon. I don't really know exactly, but but I love her. Um, so thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I've got over 6 years worth of these readings and ceremonies and stories, and I've got more in the works. Like I said earlier, it's like I want to do some bedtime fairy stories and stuff. Um, so keep watching, like my videos, share my videos, and if you enjoy this work, um, and you wish to support me, this is my day job. So this is what I do for a living. Um, you love that I love the Fae. I am a Fae. My just another tangent, but my last name, Corrigan, is a race of fairies. So, Mom, Dad, I'm Fae. And God, I still get bashful about saying this kind of thing, but I'm a unicorn. I have I remember, I have memories of being a unicorn. So, um, as I say, with great humility but anyway, so this is what I do for a living. So, if you wish to support me, if you enjoy my work and want to support more videos, and yeah, I've got that. I didn't know if people could see that or not, but yes, there are unicorns in the tapestry. That's why I put that tapestry up. Um, you saw it, yay! Um, I have my Venmo link in the description too, and anything you wish to give, to donate, to reciprocate if you got something from tonight and wish to reciprocate in that way. Not obligatory, not necessary, but if you wish to, if you're moved to, I receive that with such gratitude. I love my job. I love what I do. I love being able to help you. And that's what a shaman's job really is to support the community that supports the shaman. And so by supporting me, you're helping me to focus on my path, on what I'm learning, and so that I have more to come back and share with you. So thank you for that. And if you enjoy my readings and would like a personal reading one-on-one, you can visit my website at perchingwolfstudios.net. You can find out more about me. You can see the different shamanic services I offer, readings and healings and teachings. Oh my! And so I do the readings, of course. I also do healings, like I mentioned, soul retrieval, etc. earlier. And I'm also a teacher. I'm getting ready to set up some shamanic classes online coming up. So stay tuned for that. I don't have the details yet, but I'm getting closer. Um, and also, I teach mentor students. I take mentor students. If you are looking for a teacher, and you're like, a lot of people that come to me are people who like with new, like having awakening experiences, or they're kind of new to this kind of stuff and don't know where to start. And even if shamanism isn't your pathway, I find that through experience that it's a great place to start, because I teach you literally how to connect and converse with your spirit guides. It's not just this, oh great, who, what's it, please hear my prayer, and it's conversational. Shamanism is the relationship we have with our spirit helpers. And so I teach you how to connect with them through shamanic journey, which is usually that repetitive sound of the drumming, right? And so if you are looking for a teacher, if you're trying to find a place to start, I always feel like that's a great place to start. Gives you a kind of a foot in the door for everything. And once you learn how to do a shamanic journey, you can work that into whatever your faith, whatever your path is. It can only help and benefit whatever you're already doing. So, um, yeah, let me know. You can sign up for any of my things from my website. Um, you can ask me questions if you just have questions. You can do that from there as well. Um, and I think that's it. So I set our sacred space earlier. I called in the spirits to hold that space, and so it's only proper to, like, ceremony. Basically made this video into a ceremony. The ceremony has a beginning and an ending and a middle, just like a story. The beginning is when we call in sacred space, we call in the spirits to hold that space around us so we can focus on what our sacred work is, our magic or our prayers or whatever it is. And then the end is when we release those spirits back from whence they came. So let's do that rather quietly so I don't disturb my neighbors. Spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, compassionate spirits of the middle world, the Fae, the spirits of the land, and the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. Our work for now is done, but you are always welcome in our circles. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Oh. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your support just by watching me. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And I hope to see you next time. And until then, know that I love you, that I see you, that I honor you. A wonderful week, everyone. And go shining. All right.